Next up are the average and average family of functions. We'll take a look at it. Like the count family of functions, there are a few functions that are available as part of your average function. The average function takes the specified column as an argument, okay, and it computes the average for the column. For example, you want, let's say, units sold, right, or quantity sold. So if you take the average, you know what is average, right? So let's say you have 1, 2, 3, 4. It will add all the 4 values in the denominator, the sample size 4, right? So 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 divided by 4. That is what your average. The average function is really good. Okay, so here, if you see here, this is what is your measure. Average sales is equivalent to, on the right side of the equal sign, the DAX function, I have used the average, and this is what your column name. Okay, so the average sales your measure name here. 1 second, that is what your measure. And next, followed by the measure name, the equal sign operator, and then the DAX function average. I have used it, followed by the average. You need to use the open parenthesis and closed parenthesis, and then in the argument supposed to be your column name. In the case of average, you can use the column name only. Okay, the reference table is sales data and the reference column is sales. Well, that is up. So you cannot simply specify the column name. You need to use the table name, in the table name and then column name. Okay, average. Fine. I just go and show here itself. I think average is there. Average is not there here. I just go to the second page too. And here, let me do one thing. I'll just go here. Okay, here it is missing. Anyhow, we will do average. Nothing, is it's a big deal. Okay, so it's not a great deal. Here I just click on the modeling, or let me check any average is there. Yeah, average quantity is already there. Okay, the average units sold. Okay, average units sold, average quantity M. For example, if I select the card visual, and if I drop this one, 8.83, okay, and if I click on this, sales by customer table name, the column name is unit sold. So here the column name is unit sold, and here it takes this well. In the case of average, it skips the null value, like count function. Even in the case of average, it skips the null values. It is not taking into the null values. It is taking into account of only the non-null value, 10, 10, 12, 0, 15, 6, 6. Okay, 0 also included in the case of average because it's a non-null value. Okay, and the average function, it works with integer, numeric, decimal data type. Okay, and remember that it skips while performing the average. It is simply skipping the null values. In this case, how many records are 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 records are there, and out of 9 records we have 3 null values. It is going to execute the 3 values in the denominator. If you take the average on this in the denominator, the 7 will come here. Okay, so that is how the average function works. It's a very simple one. Okay, only thing is you need to remember that it works with only the integer data type. Okay, integer, numerical, or decimal data type, and it is not taking into account of the blank values or empty values if you have it in your column. Okay, what is the next function? We have something else called. So look here, this is what I explained. It takes a column as an argument and finds the average. Does not support logical values and text value. You cannot use a logical value. Obviously, you cannot perform average on text value, isn't it? Logical value also, it doesn't work. Cells with the 0 value are input. If the data type is numeric, integer, or decimal, it works, but it skips the null value. That is what I told you a while back. The next one is the AverageX function. The AverageX is an extension of the average function. Okay, the average function, what it does is like SumX function. you can evaluate an expression here. Okay, so you can this column. I see the first argument is your table name, obviously, because this function ends with x. Hence, it's an iterator function. In the case of iterating function or iterative function, the first argument is supposed to be your table name. Second argument can be a column name or it can be your expression. Okay, you know, it can be both. Okay, it can be either column name or the expression. Okay, and okay, what are the other highlights of the average function? It evaluates expressions for each row of a table, row by row, because it's an iterative function like SUMX function, and then calculate it is the arithmetic mean. And the next one is it does not support logical values like COUNTX function. It does not work with logical values, and when there are nothing to aggregate, blank is written. Okay, if nothing to aggregate, blank is written. If data type is integer, numeric, decimal, average, skip the, like average function, the AverageX also, sorry, it's AverageX, okay, skip the null value. Even in this case, it skips the null value. I'm going to use the same thing here. I just, yeah, this is our average, it's already there, right? So anyhow, I'm going to use the same thing. So even in this case, it converts behind the scene. It converts your averages, AverageX function. AverageX, since it ends with X, the first argument is supposed to be a table name. You need to specify the first argument table name, and then you can give the this one. I'm going to press enter. You can either press enter or you can click on the tick mark. In case you encounter any error, for example, I just missed out this one. I just press enter, it will throw an error. Or if you click it, it will throw an error. Okay, let me do one thing. See, even though I removed it, it automatically puts that one, right? So look here. No, yeah, so it's not putting it. It is throwing invalid token, line 1 offset 42 units sold. The following error occurred during parsing invalid token. So make sure that you use the square bracket for the column name and then use the closed parenthesis. So now you see that when I keep the cursor here and the corresponding open parenthesis also got highlighted, which means, you know, with that you can easily make out whether you missed out any closed parenthesis or something like that. Now you press enter or, you know, click on this tick mark. Okay, now my measure is ready and I'm going to click on the chord visual. Chord visual is very much helpful, you know, to display the single value, something like that. This is what I have created it, right? I just go and drop it here. Both the values are same. Both the values are same. Okay. Like sum and SUMX function, the average and AverageX function also works similar here. Like the count and COUNTX function, the average and AverageX function does not support logical or the Boolean values. Okay, and also you cannot include non-numeric or null values. Okay, sorry, non-numeric values. Fine. So this is the difference between the average and AverageX function. Only difference is, right, you can use some expression here. So for example, or you can use a filter for condition also. For example, if you see here, in this case, like SUMX function, I have used the first argument as a filter function. The filter function returns a table. Using filter function, before you do the average, supposing you want to, you know, based on some condition, you want to perform the sum of sales. In that kind of situation, this is very much helpful. Okay. So the first argument, you know, this is the one returns the table. But can I use the same thing in my sum function? Can I use this? You cannot, because this in a sum function or average function, the first argument supposed to, there is no first and second argument, only one argument, that is your column name. but this one returns a table. Okay. In the case of AverageX, you can, instead of using the table name, you can apply the filter, take only the records wherein we sold more than 6 units, and then you come for those records, you find out the average. Okay, and this is a filter function. Okay, along with that, you can use some kind of arithmetic operations also, or you can use some, for example, the unit sold into price, you can multiply the expression also, you can use it. The average function, sum x function, the count for x function, count ax function, these functions will perform or evaluate the expression row by row. Either you can use an expression as a second argument in your iterative function, or you can simply specify the column name itself. And then next one is the AverageA function. Look here, the next one is the AverageA function. In the case of AverageA function, it returns a decimal number only. So in that case, the AverageA function is slightly different because, A, remember, right? A, we discussed about A. A means count A. It works with almost all the data type. The AverageA function, all data types. So what are the, okay, so does that mean it works with text data type? Yeah, in the case of text data type, it will not work still. Okay, and in case of Boolean value, if you have a Boolean value, look here, and here I have used the average on active column. Active column is a Boolean data type. True or false is there, right? So the average function will work with the Boolean data type, and then the numeric, decimal, integer data type. Even in the case of AverageA, it it skips the numeric, sorry, blank value. It skips the blank value. Okay. So I'm going to use this in a chord visual. Yes, Sri, 1 second. She has a question. Okay, here 0.80. We are getting 0.80 average because yeah, we are using, okay, 0.80. What do you mean by 0.80? Here, the true is considered as a 1. Okay, and 3, and this one is 4. So 1, 1, 1, 1. 4 ones are there, right? So 4 plus 0. False is considered as 0, right? So 4 divided by, what is the value here? 4 divided by 5. How much you will get? Yeah, 0.80, right? That's correct. 1 second, I'll explain you. Don't worry. Okay, she is saying that she got confused. See, true is considered as 1. In the case of AverageA, true is considered as 1. You take any programming language, or if you want to, behind the scene, true represents, in the case of Boolean value, okay, true represents 1 and the false is 0. And here, if you add all the value in the numerator, you have found the denominator 5 you need to specify. So the 8 times, if 8 times of 5 is your 80, right? 0.80. So that is what we are getting it here. So AverageA works with the Boolean value also. The rest of the average function, it doesn't work with Boolean column. That's it. Okay. So now we discussed about the average function, AverageX function, AverageA function. The average function works with integer, numeric, decimal value only. It doesn't work with the Boolean data type, and it skips the null value. AverageX also, like average function, it works. It doesn't work with the Boolean Boolean value, or logical values, and it skips the blank value. But the advantage of AverageX is you can evaluate an expression as part of your AverageX function. Since the AverageX function ends with X, it is an iterative function. It iterates row by row. Okay, you can use the second argument in the case of AverageX as a column name, or you can use some expression also. Next one is the AverageA. AverageA works with almost all the data type except the text data type, right? The text, it will not work. In the case of Boolean value, it's kind of a text, right? So it will consider the true as 1 and false as 0. Okay, so it works with Boolean. unlike the average and AverageX function.